Ladies and gentlemen of the Internet, welcome to Gary Wise versus the World, the show in which we get poker players and industry types talking aggressively about the issues of the day. I'm your host, Gary Wise. Here's how this is going to work. Each week, I'm joined by various guests with extensive experience in the poker business. We'll talk about industry goings-on for that particular week. The reality is that when poker players talk, they talk, and usually it gets pretty entertaining, so it should make for some good times. Today, we are joined by three mainstays of the online poker world, albeit from different corners of that poker world. First, we have big game, cash game mainstay, exhausted off of a night of getting beaten down by Mr. Guy La Liberté. Hack, T-Rex 313 Dang. Hack, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hack literally woke up 15 minutes before we recorded because he was playing until 10 a.m. He was so tired, he had to quit Guy. Hack, has that ever happened before in your life?
I mean, it happens sometimes. You know, it's usually I'm not there for you though. Yeah, I'm there for the other people. You know, he brings out the crowd. You know, it's not something that happens very often though.
That's right. You're there to play against the other guys. Guy just happens to be there. I appreciate that sentiment. Next, we have with us longtime FTP Red Pro Aaron Bartley, and as Tony Dunst said, this is a man who has survived the online wars for 7 years. You know, and as I said, better old than dead. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I didn't play Guy last night, but I did go see Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, and how was it?
I just lied to you, sir.
I thought so. I caught you on it.
See what I did there?
You bluffed, I called, and you mucked. And finally, a man who has had nothing to do with Guy La Liberté in the last 24 hours, another online mainstay and self-appointed crusader for online poker superiority in a live poker world, Mr. Tony Dunst. Tony, welcome to the show.
I don't know about that. That's an interesting title. I'm not sure I would agree with that so much.
I think frequent readers of online forums would totally agree with my assessment there.
I would say there was definitely a point in which I was very that was absolutely accurate.
Okay, and are you saying you have matured beyond that point?
Sure, absolutely. I think there's a lot of guys from the live arena who are excellent. I do think that the online players are going to get a lot of the money in the long run, but I think there's also some excellent live players.
And we're going to talk about a few of them a little bit later on in the show. Mm-hmm. Amongst the items up for debate on today's docket, we're going to talk about the World Series of Poker Europe, which came to an end just yesterday. We're going to talk about the World Championship of Online Poker, which came to an end just a couple days ago. We are going to talk about one of those live players who's getting some of the money in their pocket, Mr. Dwight Pilgrim, because he won the WPT at Borgata. We're going to talk about another one, Liv Bory, who just joined Team PokerStars Pro. And we are going to talk, and when I say we, I mean Aaron, if you'll note the hat. We're going to talk about the FTP Black Card, what seems like a new attempt by Full Tilt to kill some of PokerStars' Supernova Elite Thunder. First up, we are going to talk a little World Series of Poker Europe. World Series of Poker Europe came to an end on Tuesday when England's James Board won the £10,000 no-limit championship, cool £830,000. Not a bad day. His victory was capped off a six-tournament series that saw victories by guys like Jeff Losandro, Phil Locke, Gus Hansen, and it was captured via live stream through ESPN3.com. So, first of all, did you guys watch on ESPN3.com at all? Aaron?
No.
Tony?
No.
Hack?
I didn't watch it at all.
Well, see, now, what does this say about the attempt to broadcast live on the Internet? Is it a worthwhile endeavor? What do you guys think?
I think that I can only speak for myself, but I don't like watching poker, especially if I can't see the hole cards. And I don't know if they show the hole cards, but I'm assuming they didn't. I don't find it very interesting. I think to a general audience, it probably is interesting. So if I didn't see any advertisements or anything for it, but if the word gets out, I would imagine that it is a worthwhile endeavor, just because I have to imagine that the production cost is pretty low and the amount of people who would be interested in seeing something like that is probably fairly high. Just not me.
Tony, you have a past and a potential future in poker broadcasting. Why didn't you watch this?
Because I generally just feel like watching a ton of televised poker, particularly when you can't see the whole cards, is an inefficient use of time. I'm a pretty busy guy, and I generally only watch televised poker if it is an extremely enthralling episode or there's friends of mine on the table that I want to see play and interact. Otherwise, I do feel that a lot of televised poker can be pretty dry for a guy who stares at his screen playing it for 6 to 10 hours a day.
Hack, you, Guy, and all the people you were there for, you guys didn't want to put it aside and watch a little Vibey on TV?
I mean, I think if you spend all like Tony said, if you spend all your time playing poker on the internet anyways, that's probably not the first thing on your to-do list. You know, it's and especially if you can't see the whole cards, it's not really as interesting anymore. You know, it's probably and usually like on televised poker they cut out all the downtime and stuff. So I can only imagine it'd be pretty boring if that's what you do for a living and you can't see the whole cards. You know, what is there really to watch?
Well, then who do you guys think that this broadcast was for, if not for you?
Hardcore poker fans.
Is there enough of a market out there, as far as hardcore poker fans go, for an entity like ESPN to make it worth their time to broadcast and pay for a broadcast?
Honestly, that seems like a question they would have a better chance of answering themselves, considering they would have business numbers on it, wouldn't they? I mean, it's hard for us to say. We're just players, and we're not always necessarily that concerned what's happening in the larger meta business side of poker. We generally try and concentrate on our own decisions.
So have any of you guys ever heard of James Board before the last couple of days? No.
I haven't.
Well, I think that someone made an allusion to him being a potential best friend earlier. The reason for that is he's got 830,000 pounds in his pocket he didn't have before. Now, this event has always been won in the past by named players. We had John Jawanda, we had Barry Schulman, who name regardless of what you might think of his game. Does the fact that a no-name has won this tournament do bad things for its prestige? Does it hurt the value of winning World Series of Poker Europe? Aaron?
No, I mean, the question implies that there is value in winning the World Series of Poker Europe, and I don't know how much value that has aside from winning any large poker tournament. I don't really put a lot of credit into the prestige of winning live poker tournaments or online poker tournaments for that matter. I think in poker, the most important thing is the money that you win. So those dudes are all rich dudes now, so that's probably the more important thing that comes from it. But no, I think in any poker tournament you have, the long-term professionals have more of an edge, but there's always the unknown factor, someone you've never heard of winning, and that's what keeps us in the game, I guess.
But with a small elite field like the one we saw at World Series Europe, don't we see the value found in televisibility and the prestige you talked about and how that prestige translates into sponsorship dollars? Tony?
Certainly, but I actually think that an unknown winning the World Series main event is a good thing because I think a lot of people might be discouraged from playing a very, very high buy-in event in a city that's expensive to stay in when they think the field is completely full of nasty players. That this shows that any, random British, European, whoever is in the closer vicinity to London can come over and win that event. I think it's good for them long term, and they've had plenty of bigger names to go ahead and market the prestige side of that tournament. Now they've got their potentially, and obviously the money and the whole storyline isn't as good. But as far as a random guy winning, a sort of more Chris Moneymaker type, if you will.
Right.
Well, by that token, it's not like dudes are walking around London coming in off the street paying $15,000 to play the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the people that are playing the tournament are going to play the tournament. The people who aren't going to play the tournament aren't going to play the tournament. The people who are going to watch it are going to watch it, so on and so forth. So, hopefully, obviously, like Tony said, hopefully unknown players winning large amounts of money creates sort of more of a boom. But I don't think it's drawn more randoms to like 15K events.
Now, Aaron already answered this question about prestige. For Hack and Tony, does prestige matter when it comes to winning a tournament? Are you just happy to win a tournament and the money regardless, or does the prestige of an event attract you a little bit more to it?
I think I think for myself, though I'm never going to win a tournament, it's like I wouldn't care about the prestige as much as the money. If the money wasn't there, then I wouldn't be playing a tournament. And I mean, for me, I only play 2 tournaments a year. I play the main event and maybe another one. So I mean, for me, it's all about the money. I think the prestige is probably nice to have, but if I can win the main event anonymously, I would rather do that than win it and become famous and stuff like that. So I think for me, it would be just about the money.
He says on a webcast. Tony.
What's your exact question? Does the prestige matter in a tournament?
Yeah,
in some capacity.
Does it attract you?
Not really. I didn't feel any urge to go to. Really, what attracts me about going to play at PokerStop is how soft the field's going to be and how fun is it going to be off the felt. That's what I seriously think about when I plan a poker trip and what tournaments I want to play. I'm not going to, if I win a tournament, I'm not going to put my trophy somewhere in the middle of my house. I'm not going to wear my bracelet. Sorry. I'm more concerned with, what city am I going to?
I think if you had a bracelet to wear, you'd be wearing it right now, Tony.
Not a chance. I'm
No.
not Greek.
Is there a sadder look in all of poker than wearing a fucking bracelet?
Yeah, it's just,
I believe both
you're absolutely right.
Like, listen, if you got 9 of them, then, okay, I get it. It's like, do people wear more than one Super Bowl ring? Like, you don't gotta wear the bracelet. Give it to your mom.
Yeah, I gave mine away.
Let me ask you this thing, guys. Given 2 tournaments with identical prize pools, one a small elite field, one a large quote unquote random field, which one would you rather win? Does it matter? Both, but does it matter? Like, okay, Aaron, it's easy for you to say. Let me say this. It's easy for you to say this because you already have your patch on your head. And everybody can see you're wearing that full tilt patch. For a guy who doesn't have the sponsorship dollars, there's some value to winning something that's going to get you a little bit more attention.
Of course. Well, then in that regard, I don't think people look at the prestige and the toughness of the field. I think it's what's going to be on TV more. Okay.
And which is basically what's going to get you more attention, regardless.
Exactly. What'll put you on? If one tournament has you on TV for 5 minutes, the other tournament has you on TV for 50 minutes. That's the most important thing. Winning what tournament is going to get you on the cover of Card Player, on the Poker Static video podcast with all your friends. I don't think it's the toughness of the field matters in terms of, that's not what's important. What's important is how that translates into media marketability of the tournament, and then in a lesser way of yourself in that tournament.
All right, that's reasonable. I want to move on a little bit here within the same umbrella. Phil Walk won his first World Series of Poker bracelet. Now, the first question about this, of course, is does blunt force trauma equal success in poker? Phil last month had his massive ATV accident. He shattered his wrist. He broke his eye socket. I don't even know that there's something to break in the eye socket, but he broke it. He basically destroyed his entire body. He comes back, he wins money on the big game, then goes to Europe and wins his first bracelet after years of trying and failing to do so. So, obviously, we're not suggesting that there's an actual correlation between doing bodily harm to yourself and winning at poker. But can this kind of an event in your life allow you to refocus yourself and really reawaken, the interest in winning? Or am I grasping?
Well, I don't think you can directly say that it does. I mean, if you have a near-death experience, you might, you could reevaluate your priorities and maybe get more focused on life. I mean, that's a possibility. I can see how you can make that argument, but you can't say for sure.
Tony, you buying that?
You kind of have to ask Phil, wouldn't you? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And I imagine if I fucked myself up real good, I would probably have a renewed zest for life. But I generally feel like I try and live pretty fully either way. But it's very possible that he said, I got close to death and I realized I don't have that one accomplishment I want. I don't really know. I don't know Phil. He seems fun though.
What do you think, Aaron? Does air smell better and food taste better after that kind of an experience? You have those like weekly, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going skydiving next. No, I don't leave my house. But no, I don't think. I mean, food tastes better, air smells better. You're probably a nicer person. You're in a better disposition. But I don't think almost dying makes you want to grind a bunch of poker. You know. I think.
No, but it makes you want to do what you love better, though, right?
I mean, but
it might make you want to play less poker.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you would want to, like, if my girlfriend was Jen Tilly and she's got that Sam Simon money and I'm hanging out with my buddy Antonio and all those people, like, the last thing I would want to do, especially after I almost lost it all, is want to go play a shit ton of poker. But I think, I mean, listen, he's a good player. He's a tight player. He's very good at playing poker and playing the people and getting them to pay him off and all that stuff. He was due to win a very large poker tournament. He won a large poker tournament. That's good. I'm glad he's feeling better. But I don't think...
I hope he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, coming off of Phil Locke, Gus Hansen wins his first World Series of Poker bracelet. I go to Hack Dang. Hack, have you stopped smiling since this happened?
I think the thing with Gus, though, is yesterday he lost... He's lost a ton of money since he won the bracelet, and, you know, I mean, I think he lost a bunch and then he won it back. So, I mean, winning the bracelet for him, honestly, he probably loses or wins more than, you know, in one night playing 501k PLO, he loses or wins more than what he won for the bracelet. So, I mean, as far as, I mean, it does make me happy because it means he'll play for an extra night longer. But, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. On my end, no complaints.
Like, if nothing else, it gives him a confidence boost and tells him, yeah, you can do it, get online, right?
I mean, Gus isn't as bad as people make him out to be, but, you know, like, obviously I'm going to play him if I can. Just the stakes he plays is so high that, you know, regardless of how good you are, you're going to have days where you're, you know, winning or losing $500,000. And I mean, on my end, that's pretty hard to take for anybody, especially, like, on my end.
I just like to point out that I appreciate the Rob Schneider reference.
Since Aaron's wearing the full tilt patch, Tony, going by the numbers that we see online about Gus, $7 million lost, is Hack being a nice guy by saying Gus isn't as bad as people think he is?
No, no, not at all. He's being entirely honest. It's just that Gus is an excellent player who decides to play the very best players. I'm not sure what his motivation for that is, but that's why he's down $7 million. It's not because he's bad at poker.
All right. They used to say of Eric Drake, he was the seventh best seven-stud player in the world, and he always played with the sixth best, and that's why he lost.
That's right. It's turned into a tournament.
I'm not sure if they're saying it to be... Sorry?
I remember when I first started playing poker, people would talk about that. They would say, it doesn't matter if you're the seventh best player in the world if you're sitting at the table with the six other best players.
Well, Eric Drake, the guy who produces all the TV shows now, he's the guy that they used to say that about, first and foremost. Of course, there's a question of whether or not they were blowing the smoke up his ass. So, going back to Gus here, Gus and Jim Callipy postponed the end of their match at the World Series of Poker Europe. It was a best 2 of 3 heads-up match. They finished the first two. It was late, and they postponed the third because of the fact that both players wanted to play in the main event. Do you guys think that was a mistake for the World Series of Poker Europe to allow that to happen?
No.
Their money, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's their call.
But they have a schedule, they have a broadcast. Don't they owe it to the fans that you guys were talking about earlier, trying to build up, by maintaining that? And at the same time, isn't there something to be said for the reputation of a tournament when that tournament decides to go against the grain of its own rules and scheduling?
But it's such an obvious spot. It's, you know.
Sorry, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's yeah, they should try to stay to the schedule, but if they're doing something in the best interest of the players who are giving them their product for free, then you always have to rule in the interest of the players. Listen, if they were adding $500,000 to the pool of the tournament, they could tell them to play as late as they fucking want. But since they're not, since these players are giving them all of their content for nothing, not only are they giving them their content for free, but they're paying them and giving them content. They're paying them in the rake of the tournament. if they make a decision that is in the benefit of the two players who are left in the tournament who are playing for a large sum of money, I think that's a very good thing, and they should be applauded for ruling that way.
Neither Locke nor Hansen had ever won a World Series of Poker bracelet before, which is a big deal to people like me who only watch the game instead of playing at the levels that you guys do. The question is, does winning a World Series of Poker Europe bracelet as your first bracelet really make you a bracelet winner? Is it truly the bracelet achievement that everybody's always going for? Do you guys accept the World Series of Poker Europe as a worldwide brand? Tony?
Sure, why not? I don't see any reason to be nitty about it. I'm not some old school guy who demands that every tournament have its proper lineage and promenade and everything like that. If they say it's a World Series bracelet and you beat a large field tournament, then you've got yourself a World Series bracelet. Congratulations.
Hack, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with that. You know, obviously, like, some tournaments people might hold to more prestige, like, you know, if you win the 50K horse or the main event because there's more people. But, I mean, a bracelet's a bracelet. And, you know, if you win one, then you're a World Series of bracelet winner.
Now, none of you guys watched the broadcast by your own admission. Would you have watched if either Isildur or Ivy had made the final table?
No.
No? No?
I would have watched
Really?
if one of my roommates made the final table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Do you guys think that that one of those two making the final table would have done big things for the validity of the World Series of Poker Europe and the credibility of the event? Or do you give a shit?
I think it would.
I mean, we're talking about. Sorry, we're talking about two players making a final table and why that would give an event credibility. I don't see the correlation that much.
Well, isn't the correlation though that when you get a famous player at the table, a player that is at the heart of the pulse of the community, like both those two guys are right now, doesn't that increase interest in the event and therefore increase the exposure of the event? And,
yes.
And with that exposure, the validity?
I don't know that exposure necessarily equals validity, but it will definitely make the event more popular within the community. And I mean, Ivy showing up at a final table never hurts anywhere. He's one of the biggest faces of our game, but I don't think it's something they need to have a successful event or a popular event. I'm sure they would, from a business standpoint, they'd be thrilled to get either of those guys on the table. But as far as making it a valid event, no.
I'm not saying valid. I'm saying a little bit more valid in the minds of the observers. I think that people will know if Phil Ivey wins that tournament, people know more about that tournament, and it makes it a more enticing tournament for them to go to next year.
For the general population, that's probably true. Like the average player that watches on TV, if they see a final table with Ivy at it, they'll be like, hey, this is probably a good event. But if they see no one that they recognize, then it'd be the other hand. They might not respect the tournament as much. So I think in that respect, you're correct.
Aaron, am I full of shit?
I don't think you're full of shit. I just think it always weirds me out when people use words like credibility and validation and prestige and when talking about poker. I mean, it's poker. It's a game that was born out of saloons with people who had guns and who would rob you after the game. We're not playing the Masters here. We're playing a game where we're taking other people's money because they are not as smart as us. So I think that in terms of marketability, it's very good for someone like Phil Ivey or Alan Cunningham or Mike Matisow or even someone like Danny Negreanu or Phil Hellmuth if they get on the final table because then they can market it and stuff like that. But in terms of if it makes it a credible thing, I don't think that there are many credible poker tournaments in terms of like, oh, you won that, you're definitely a good player, No one who wins any one specific tournament is a definite good player.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna use that as a segue into our second segment then. We're gonna talk about World Championship of Online Poker. WCOOP just came to a close, 72 events finished, 141,000 entries for $62 million overall. Biggest names in the event that came out as it came out were Jason Mercier, Alex Kravchenko, Tyson Marks, who is known as Potter Poker, the guy who won the main event, and maybe Phil Ivey. We'll talk about that in a second. So I guess the first question is, does Potter Poker winning that main event Does that make him a good poker player? Aaron Bartley.
First off, I have no idea this tournament series you're
You never
referring
heard of
to. Maybe
WCUP,
you're
have
talking
you?
about the FATOPS. The FATOPS is coming up in November. Perhaps you are referring to that. No, I mean,
Nice hat, Aaron.
I know Potter
Nice hat.
Poker. To my knowledge, Potter Poker is jump putt on full tilt, and I've played with him a decent amount. He's a good player, and he's a good player. He's played. God, he must have played 10,000 poker tournaments, so he's paid his dues. And I've watched a little bit of the final table. He was the best player at that table. He was the best player when it was down to 18. He deserved the money. I'm glad that he won.
So now I find it interesting that you decided to watch the final table of WCOOP, but not the final table of World Series of Poker Europe. Is that because of your
Kinda fucked
online
up, isn't
pedigree?
it?
Yeah, it is fucked up. Is that
I
an
know.
online pedigree thing, or?
I don't know why it is. It's I didn't really know anyone at the final table. Like I didn't know him. I knew who a couple people were, but I didn't know him like that. I don't know why. It was on. It was something that I was interested in, so I pulled it open. But
Did you watch the one with hole
interesting how I
cards?
watched one and not the other.
Did you watch
no,
the
I
one with
haven't
hole
seen
cards?
that. No,
Okay.
I was watching it live.
Tony or Hack, did either of you guys watch?
I didn't even know it was going on.
That's so baller.
He was playing with Guy. You know, like what the hell else is going on in the world when that's happening?
That's a good point.
All right, so Aaron said that the guy can play, you know, and we now know about his personal life and his journey through poker thanks to a blog on PokerStars.com, like the day after. The simple fact is, though, that this is a guy who people didn't really know beforehand. Like, Aaron knew him, but I don't think he was talked about in the forums at all. Does this now take him to the next level as an online poker entity? Like, do you guys now respect him more for winning this tournament? Or do you just luck out the big one? Did you just happen to take the lightning strike? Tony?
I have no idea. I didn't actually watch the event, and I'm not familiar with this particular player, but given Aaron's description, it sounds like he won an event that he earned and played excellent in, so good for him. I'll certainly be more mindful of him if I see him around my tournaments, but it's still online poker, and we're still talking about what is generally an anonymous little yellow circle on a screen, so he doesn't come to the forefront of my mind now.
Hack, since you're playing into the full tilt myth of WCOOP doesn't happen, does this at least make him the kind of guy that you're interested in finding out more about, or when it does it really only matter when he gets to your table, at which point you'll decipher the way he's playing and not base anything on reputation?
Well, I mean, from the way you guys talk about him, it sounds like he's a pretty good tournament player, and if he decided to play at one of my tables, then that's probably what I would profile him as until he proved otherwise. Because most tournament players don't really play high stakes PLO, so I think I'd be pretty happy about that if someone that just won the WCOOP came to my table and tried to play me at PLO. Until they started beating me, of course.
So this is now more a case of a guy who's very solid finally getting recognition for being solid because he did it in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other players probably as good as him, maybe a few even probably better than him that maybe just ran better in the tournament. But only one player can win one of these at a time, I think. So he just had a spot just now, which is good for him. Congratulations to him.
Very diplomatic. After wins by guys by like Jason Mercier, Alex Kravchenko, and Raise Once, and we're going to talk about Raise Once in a second. I won't force Aaron to comment on that. Was this kind of anticlimactic? Was it just like a sort of a soft ending to an otherwise major event? And is it kind of disappointing that the WCOOP doesn't get more attention in broader circles?
Who, me?
Tony? Anyone?
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I don't think it's unusual that the WCOOP doesn't gain broader interest because you lack any of the personalities that you have with live poker. I mean, the fact is it's extremely impersonal. It's a brilliant form of poker, but it's dry and it's quick. And there's no personal aspect, there's no story aspect. One of the reasons that the World Series is so easily watchable is they build all these storylines. You're just not going to have that in the WCOOP, even though the prize pools in some events are almost just as big. It doesn't really matter without the human aspect.
Tony, I'm going to stay on you for a second, since Hack can't really talk about a guy he plays against all the time, and Aaron can't talk about an FTP guy. Is Rays once Phil Ivey?
I have no idea.
Do you think he is?
I mean, look, dude, I literally have zero. If someone was to try and bet me on this, I would refuse because I have no idea what I am talking about. If he's won a bunch of these W Coop things though, right? So I don't know. Phil Ivey kicks ass at poker. This guy kicks ass at poker. Therefore, yes, Rays wants his Phil Ivey.
I'll see if anybody else wants to comment. What's that?
I mean, like, to be fair, no one knows who him or any other online player who doesn't want to be known is. And people have been doing this shit since 2004. Anytime someone does good in a tournament, especially if it's a big tournament, especially if it's someone who it doesn't say much about who he is, especially if he's from Las Vegas, people say, that's Phil Ivey, that's Phil Hellmuth, that's Alan Cunningham. That's this guy, that's that guy. So this shit's been going on for a very long time. No one knows. I can understand how it's interesting, but no one has any sort of inside information. And there's two people who know if it's Phil Ivey or not. That's Phil Ivey and whoever it is.
For what it's worth, in my few $20 tournament successes, I've never been accused. Just saying.
You never been accused of being Phil Ivey?
Never. Yeah. Despite the hairdo.
What can you do?
Dwight Pilgrim won the WPT in Borgata this week. One pattern we've seen over the last 8 years is a constant movement of poker excellence towards the online world. The stars of today get their starts in the binary, and if they don't happen to win the main event, then they don't get the attention. Dwight Pilgrim is anomalous. This is a guy who got his start in live poker, has had a success in live poker, and now has gone from quote-unquote minor league champion to winning a major tournament by scoring an $800,000 win at Borgata this week. So, first of all, has anybody here played with Dwight? Yes.
I played with him all day on day 3 of the main event this year. Like, I was right next to him and talked to him all day. Dwight's a fun guy. He's a guy who's not afraid to screw around with people and get under their skin. I think he's very clever with people, is what I would certainly say about him. He plays well. He plays aggressive. Does he have some leaks? Yes, but he also is very good at manipulating people in the personal sense. I think he probably knew who I was, or got a sense immediately that I was some form of professional. I was on his immediate left. He played real nice all day. I mean, we got along very well and talked about this and that. How much was premeditated by him and how much was him just being a fun, easygoing guy, I'm not sure. But everything that people say to me about Dwight, that, spent time with him off the felt, they say he's a pretty pleasant guy. On the felt, he's not afraid to play the sort of mind games, to get under people's skin, to just straight up fuck with dudes sometimes. And, I mean, some people are not going to enjoy that. I found it entertaining to watch.
Now, but the question is, regardless of entertainment, is it valid? Is it a valid way to win? And we're back to that word validity, and I apologize for that. But is it still cool in poker to talk shit to someone and try to get them off their game that way? Or has poker become this mathematical puzzle that you're supposed to respect?
It's not my personal variety or my personal style or demeanor at the table, but it works for him, and you've got to say that a guy who doesn't have the same tools that we do from the online arena is doing very well for himself, and there are numerous ways to gain an edge in this game, and he's found an avenue which most people haven't considered. Is it the most polite and always affable avenue? No. But, that's for him to decide, and for his, him to have the consequences of.
Aaron, I know that you're shy and withdrawn, generally speaking. Do you think it's okay for somebody to talk a lot of crap at the table?
Yeah, I'm an introvert. I think it's okay. I think within reason. Like, if you're just being... If it's an affable kind of shit talking, like, hey, buddy, hey, you suck, hey, here's, I'm going to show a bluff, kind of stuff like that, I think that's fine. If it's mean and meant to hurt people's feelings and to to really get people on tilt, like just a mean kind of thing, I think there's really no need for that. I think it's kind of disrespectful. I don't know how dude plays. It sounds like he's kind of a fun dude at the table from what Tony was saying, but
he was that.
But I don't really know him. Yeah.
But Tony did it get mean?
At any point during that day, I don't think he did anything that crossed over to mean. I was looking through that thread, and I think that people were saying that when he was heads up, he might have gotten over the line against his opponents and said some things that were unnecessary. I don't know. I haven't seen the footage. I'm not sure. But the day I played with him, he was willing to, it was like Aaron said, it was pretty harmless trash talking. It wasn't anything nasty. It wasn't anything personal. It was just kind of like, yeah, if you're going to bluff me, that's not going to work out. Or, I know you got that hand kind of stuff.
So it was Jamie Gold talk.
Yeah, it was Jamie Gold talk more. But it wasn't even near as much as Jamie Gold was talking.
All right. Hack, do you think that a guy like this who does not have a fundamental base in the mathematics of poker, formed online and so on, can he survive and continue to thrive in the live poker arena the way he's going?
Well, it seems like he's doing pretty well for himself. If we're sitting here talking about him, I feel like he can probably do it. But if he tried to take his game to the online world where he can't where he can't like talk to players and try to figure out and what they're doing and try to get under their skin, then he might have trouble. But as long as he's playing, pretty much he's definitely like very comfortable playing live games. So I think he should be fine if he can create his edge that way.
Do you guys believe that there is such a thing as a division in live tournaments between minor leagues and major leagues? Pilgrim's been described as a minor league star. He's done very well in the World Series circuit in smaller buy-in events. This is obviously a leap for him in terms of the size of the event and the grandeur of the event and the size of the prize pool. Does this signal a graduation for him, or is it just another tournament where he happened to pay more to get in? Aaron?
Just another tournament. I don't think there's a division. I don't think there's minor leagues or major leagues. I think that a lot of players, especially players that play live only, that are going for stuff like Player of the Year and stuff like that, they'll play $200 buy-ins, they'll play $25K buy-ins. Again, from what extremely limited information I have about the dude, it sounds like he's very good at playing live poker. He's very good at speaking to people and getting people to do things that increase his edge. And good for him. It sounds like he was due to win a really big tournament, and he won a really big tournament. Congratulations.
Is this a guy that any of you would want at your table or not want at your table?
I think he's fun. I wouldn't mind having him at the table. I like people who are fun to talk to.
How about playing against him, Tony? Did you want to play against him?
I would rather have a complete fish.
All right. Aaron?
Yeah, like if it was between a talkative, fun reg or a tight, quiet reg, I'd rather have the talkative, fun reg. But obviously, above all, I would rather have a guy who is drooling at the table. Like if I had my druthers, it would be me and 8, 21-year-old models. You know what I'm saying?
I think I know what you're saying, yes. Hack, would you like to play with 8 21-year-old models, or would you like to play with Dwight Pilgrim?
I don't even know how I'm supposed to answer. I mean, I take the models, obviously. You take all their money and you can talk to them.
That's a good direction to take with your answer, I think. But like seriously, like so you're an online guy who obviously has the fundamentals that he might not have. Do you want to sit with a guy like this in the live arena where he will be talking shit in your ear in a way that you're not accustomed to? Or would you rather someone who has a stronger fundamental basis in online play and who will just sit at the table quietly, and just sort of play within your comfort zone?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you're playing a live guy that knows what he's doing and he knows how to manipulate online guys, that can make it harder for you. So it's just a matter of how you adjust to those people. If you play against an online guy, then you both kind of know where you are. So it'd be harder for you to take advantage of the online guy, but at least you'll know where you're at. I'm not sure how good Dwight is at, or like, how much of his skill that we're talking about, where he can talk to people and make them do stuff that they don't want to do and stuff like that. I don't know how much that will increase his edge. It'd be interesting to find out if I ever did get a play against him, but I think against a regular online guy and against Dwight Pilgrim is probably a similar edge that you would get, just because they're both going to be decent players and one of them's going to be more fundamentally sound, but the other person's going to be able to make you do stuff that you don't want to do and stuff like that. But as far as him being funny and stuff, I guess I would prefer him at my table.
All right.
And I don't think Hack's any stranger to shit talk. I don't think that's going to throw him off his game. Yeah, somehow I don't get the impression that a dude shit talking you live is going to throw you off your game or anything, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it'll make you want to stack him more, but I don't know.
Exactly.
All right. Moving on to yet another topic. Liv Boeree has joined Team PokerStars Pro. She recently left her deal with UB. There was a lot of talk about the possibility of this happening. It has come to fruition. First question, Liv, obviously, very attractive woman who has also won a major live tournament. That it's a rare package. Do you guys think that she has earned this, quote unquote? And it's obviously a big quote unquote. Aaron, you're the online site sponsoree in the group. What do you think?
I'm the resident shill. Yeah. I don't really know how to answer that. I don't think you earn anything. You earn it if you can speak to someone and sell yourself. And if you can work something out with a poker site where both of you make money, then you earn it. I don't think that – it always bugs me when people try to say that if Full Tilt sponsors 100 players, then people are like, oh, Full Tilt's saying that these 100 players are the 100 best poker players in the world. And they're the top, and if anyone falls to 101, they get cut, and then 100 moves in. That's not how marketing in poker works. It's a business. It's not poker. Obviously, what you do at the poker table heavily influences what you do with the marketing game, but that's not 100% of it. So she's very attractive. She's very good at poker. I have to assume that she can market herself well so that she is valuable to poker sites because this is her second sponsorship. So yeah, she absolutely earned it, 100%.
Well, now, but here's a question that comes from your answer then. Does the fact that a Liv Boeree gets sponsored before, say, a Hack Dang, is that the ultimate proof that poker in popular culture is entertainment before it's competition?
I don't know. I would say
Hack, what do you think? Sorry.
I mean, I think
Nah.
I think from if I was Full Tilt or PokerStars, I would sign Liv Boeree before I sign myself as well. I don't see anything wrong with it. I would do that. That's an obvious decision because she's more marketable. She's decent at poker, I'm sure. She's someone that when the general public sees her, they'll want to play on PokerStars. A lot of people the general public doesn't know who a lot of the online guys who are probably much better at poker are, but that's just the way it is. So obviously I would sign her before I sign myself, and any site that would sign me over her, probably wouldn't be doing too well.
I just want to thank Aaron for reading my mind there. I appreciated that. Tony,
I just watched Gary Wise make a Jim Cornette face.
Wow, I actually got that reference. Tony, do you have a sponsorship right now?
I do not know.
Okay, so you are a marketable guy. You have a lot of success in poker. Does it frustrate you that Liv is, in likelihood, being chosen for her gender rather than her accomplishments?
Not in the slightest. I think that any poker site, like Hack said, that would sponsor a guy like me or Hack before her is moronic. And Liv is the perfect package of poker talent, beautiful looks, lovely and charming personality, and very good on camera. You'd be really stupid not to sponsor her. I would have to be incredibly delusional to think that I was entitled to a sponsorship before her.
What do you say to people like Kathy Liebert, for example, who have argued in the past that it is an unfair standard that is set where women are given sponsorships based on beauty before accomplishment? Is it really just a reality check situation, or really are we living in an unfair world with unfair standards that doesn't respect endeavor?
Well, the business side of poker and marketing is essentially about the return on investment, and if they think that investing in a Liv Boeree is going to return a hell of a lot better than Kathy Liebert, then that's that business's decision to make, and you can't blame them for making it. If Kathy Liebert wants sort of what's the word? recognition on the marketing side of poker, then she needs to achieve her side on the marketing side of poker. Their list of requirements is different from win poker tournaments, okay? Because it also includes ability to speak. It includes a sort of social presence, the way you present yourself aesthetically. It's an entirely different list of talents and different from just, oh, okay, you've won X amount of money or tournaments at poker, therefore you are worth a stamp of approval and people are going to like you. This is not how it works. You're talking about something much more complicated and much larger on a personality level than simply winning at poker. Why exactly, Gary, should we take people who don't portray the game the way we want it portrayed to the public and market them just because they've had success? Because there's a lot of dudes, and I'm not talking about Kathy Liebert, who seems fine, but there's a lot of guys who've had amazing success at poker, and we know way better than to market them to the public.
You just answered the question for me. I think you make a very valid point. At the same time, I have some empathy for those who feel like they put in their time, they've put in, they've offered the building blocks on which this industry has been built. They feel that they are the ones who deserve the just desserts. I'm not saying that they're necessarily right in that belief. I think that ultimately money makes the world go round, and you're absolutely right about the ROI. But at the same time, I do empathize with those people who seem to have sweat for other people's benefit.
But they
seem to have been what?
They sweat for other people's benefit.
No, they haven't. They've sweat for their own benefit.
Yeah.
They've made their money. This is poker. This isn't some other thing I could compare it to. It's poker.
Great analogy.
First off, thank you. I'm the ultimate guy with words. First off, isn't Kathy Liebert sponsored by someone?
I'm not sure what her present status is. I just know that in the past it's been an issue she's raised.
Either way, she plays poker to make money. If anyone is playing poker so they could be sponsored and make boatloads of money and retire, they're probably doing it wrong. I'm pretty sure no one is ever making any more money from sponsorship than they are from actually playing poker. So
there have to be a couple of those.
I think that there are a few. I think that's an incorrect statement.
Yeah,
I think that there are very.
I'm trying not to throw my own self under the bus. I'm sorry.
Didn't we talk about Gus Hansen earlier in the show?
Dude, isn't Gus Hansen like $4 million in poker tournaments?
Yeah, but he's down $7 million online.
You don't know that.
Trackers say he's down $7 million online.
Oh, trackers. I don't know.
All right,
anyway,
okay.
What I'm saying is, like, is it unfair to certain individuals or certain other individuals who maybe have more or less accomplished than they do in a certain profession that they get the recognition? It's a little unfair. But it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that attractive people get advantages over not so attractive people, myself included, in the latter category.
All right, our final topic for discussion, the FTP Black Card. Full Tilt Poker has announced that they are going to be rewarding their most frequent and consistent players with the black card. Get a certain number of points, and you get the black card, and you get more points and more points and more points, and spend those points to get more points. Points craziness. So, first of all, did any of you guys read the link on the that I sent you in the outline? And if so, do we know what the black card really is? Aaron Bartley, shill for your site, man. Earn those sponsorship dollars.
To my knowledge, the black card is a rewards system. And I don't mean to correct the great Gary Wise, but you earn points, which earn you more points, which earn you cash bonuses, which is something that everyone has been clamoring for a very long time. So I think it's obviously a good thing. It's people being able to make more money without risking more money. So that's always, it's always a good thing when poker sites are willing to give money back to the players. And I think we should all give a big parade for Full Tilter, who's giving money back to the people.
So really, this is kind of like a glorified rakeback system, isn't it? You get points for playing hands, and you trade points for cash. It's rakeback.
In the sense that every bonus is a glorified rakeback system, yeah, I guess so.
All right. You guys know, all three of you are consistent online players. You put your hands in. Obviously this is, you're the kind of guys that this is geared towards. Does it make, well, I'm not going to ask Aaron this, does it make Tony or Hack more likely to play on Full Tilt Poker than they were previously? Nice hat there, Aaron. You should get it carved into your beard.
I'm getting a tattoo.
So, Tony, does this make you any more likely to log into Full Tilt because you can get your points for more points for cash bonuses?
No, it does not. I let my points accumulate for years before I even became conscious of them and started spending them on stuff. And I play the exact amount on Full Tilt that I would play given their tournament schedule, so this changes nothing.
Heck?
I mean, I play whenever
he plays, I play.
Whenever there's games online,
is that right?
I play. To be honest, I don't even have a PokerStars account. So, the fact that their Supernova system was there, I've never even, played consistently on there. So, it doesn't change anything for myself.
So, okay, so with you guys being the target, and none of you caring, except for Aaron, who obviously loves the black card in every way, shape, or form.
Well, listen, clearly these guys are not the target of the system. Clearly, a nosebleed regular isn't the target for $600 bonus system. I don't think Hack is sweating over his Full Tilt points. No offense. I don't need to get all in his business. Wow, everyone talked at once.
Sorry. I see what you're saying, but really, who's it? Is this really going to entice anybody to play on Full Tilt who's not already playing there? Is this going to be the difference maker for anybody?
Absolutely.
I think
my
lower stakes,
up.
Yeah. Lower stakes for sure.
Sorry, Tony, what did you say?
I was just saying, just crank some grinders up. The guys who, might not have had that much motivation to grind before are going to put in heavier volume. Is it going to attract a ton of new players? No. Is it going to get some of their existing players to play more? Yes.
Okay, that's a valid point. That's fair. But no one, does anybody switch over from PokerStars at this point because of the black card?
Depends on what the setup is.
Okay. Is this Full Tilt just trying to compete with Supernova, or is it them really trying to give something back to the players? Anyone but Aaron?
Both.
I love picking on Full Tilt sponsorees, by the way.
They're just, it's their job to compete with PokerStars, and if something's working for PokerStars, it's not crazy to think that Full Tilt would attempt to replicate it in some degree. And additionally, they're giving more money back to the players, which nobody's going to complain about. So it seems advantageous from both sides.
All right. It is now, by my clock, 6:43 on the East Coast. Hack Dang was supposed to leave at 6:30, and he's been very patient in sticking with us. So I'm going to begin the process of closing up shop here. Before we finish off the show, I promise each of you an opportunity to hawk your wares, as it were. I would like to give you each now that chance to tell everybody what you're doing online, where they can find you, what they can see you doing. Aaron, are you by chance affiliated with any major website that you might like to mention?
It's funny you should bring that up, because I actually am. You can play with me at Full Tilt Poker. You could learn from me at academy.fulltiltpoker.com. And if you're in hearing the dumb shit that I have to say, you could follow me on Twitter at GamblerAB.
Well, I've enjoyed the dumb shit you've had to say throughout the show, so I urge people to go and do that. Hack, when you're not hanging out with multi-billionaire circus moguls, what are you doing with your time?
I sleep and play video games.
Sweet, man. You you doing like Xbox Live kind of shit?
No, like StarCraft and stuff like that.
The new StarCraft. Sick.
Yeah.
Hack actually sent me an email this week talking about how video games are like drugs. And he compared. I think you compared. Was it StarCraft to heroin? Was that the comparison you made?
No, I said there's different types of games, and they're comparable to different types of drugs. I haven't tried, a lot of drugs, so I wouldn't know. But I imagine, Halo is something like maybe weed, and then, if you play,
Halo is good.
I don't know,
you're right.
Yeah. And if you play, StarCraft is more addictive, and, it takes more time, so that maybe that's something like cocaine, I don't know. And then, you step your way up the ladder, and then maybe World of Warcraft is like crack or something. But I have no idea, but I just think it's something like that, and I've been, in that respect, I've been doing a lot of drugs, I guess. But Whatever works.
Well, Hack, if you could tear yourself away from the video games, you mentioned in that email that you owe me $100. You can buy me dinner instead if we can get you out of the apartment for an hour, okay?
All right.
Tony.
Yes.
Tony, what are you doing these days?
I am making strategy videos over at Poker Savvy Plus. I am still moderating the 2+2 forums in the MTT sections, and I'm writing my blog over at Card Player.
Is that blog anywhere near as graphic as it once was?
When it strikes me to be.
All right. See, that, folks, right there is called enticement. If you go and you check out his blog, maybe you'll catch a glimpse of what we're talking about. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. It's been entertaining. So what was that?
Tony Dunst is the most interesting man in the world, I think.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, those commercials are based on him.
Tony, if you were to drink a beer on occasion, what beer would you drink?
Well, Gary, I don't always drink beer, but...
And I want to say,
if I were, it sure as fuck wouldn't be Dos Equis, because we can do way better than that.
I want to say, by the way, Tony, thank you for busting out your one T-shirt for the show. We do appreciate that.
I actually stole this from my roommate.
All right. Well, anything to dumb down the wardrobe so that you can come and hang out with the likes of me. I appreciate it. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
That's exactly the mentality I had.
See? You got to read your opponents sometimes. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, some good laughs, especially during our technical blackouts, unfortunately. But hey, at least Hack was smiling when we talked about Gus. Nobody understands what I'm talking about except for Tony Aaron and I. Folks, this has been Gary Wise versus the World. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. And we'll be back next week with, hopefully as charismatic and interesting a cast as this one, but I make no promises.
Doubtful.